Hey, folks, that's right. Let me be crystal clear. We are here. This is Reno News Now, also going by the ADHD Auditor. That's right. I'm going to start embracing my ADHD, folks. Why do you ask that? Well, to be honest, in this line of work, it's 100% legal. Also, to keep a lookout for my other channel, the ADHD Auditor. It's there where I'll be posting more of my First Amendment audits that I'll do when I go out on the field. Something that I may not always post here to Reno News Now. I want to keep Reno News Now more for news content, and we're going to be moving more audits over to the ADHD Auditor. So you may hear me start some of my videos going, this is Reno News Now, also known as the ADHD Auditor. However, we're one and the same here, folks, so keep tuned. So a lot of you may be wondering why I might be embracing my ADHD, but long story short, I'm going to embrace it for the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's 100% legal, folks. One of the things is whenever you come across a person with mental disabilities from a law enforcement perspective, they are supposed to de-escalate. So not only are they supposed to de-escalate when they start working with you, they're supposed to de-escalate, even more so if they know you have a learning disability. On top of that, I have a bad back, and I have paperwork to prove it, especially here with the government. So 2 violations would not be good. Now, today I was brought back to the 1A community after a year plus because now I got a purpose. I've been looking for a story to do, and just showing up to local government areas and just recording is fine. It's great for 1A audits, but it's not something I do in full time. I do have a full-time job in the gaming industry, so that's one thing I have to keep an eye out for. A lot of the gaming industries are tied to licenses, and to get those licenses, you have to get them through the state. And I got 4 states where I have 4 different gaming licenses. And if I were to get arrested, like the video that we're going to feature today, it would not look pretty. So today I've been brought back with a purpose, and it's all because of Sacramento Community Watch. Now, he is a real 1A auditor based right here in Reno, Nevada, in my own front yard, folks. This guy is amazing, let me tell you that. He gets out there on the streets and does his audits, and it's unfortunately, like I said, something I don't have time, and life does not allow me to do. So I'm going to do everything I can to support my fellow local First Amendment auditors, and I can tell you this, folks, he needs all the support he can get. Now, what I'm going to show you here, guys, is very short, but it's very disturbing from his channel. So let's check it out, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Sacramento Community Watch. We are in the city of Reno, Nevada, right off of West 2nd Street and North Virginia Street. Looks like we have Reno PD. Multiple vehicles. Of course, we're going to walk up and see what's going on. So it looks like we have 5 vehicles so far is what I see. Right here at the Nevadan, Calneva Nevadan Hotel. First vehicle on the scene, 171 210 371. Vehicle is going to be occupied 1. Hello, how's it going, Gaudier? Pretty good, man. What's going on out here? It's going to be additional vehicle 072 200 272. It's going to also be occupied 1 time. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's going on out here? Nothing? Excuse me? Step away from your vehicle. Okay, this is our vehicle, actually. The city's vehicle. Okay? Also, when you're dealing with public, I'm recording for my safety as well as yours. This is Officer Hoyt with the Reno PD. How you doing?
Is something I can help you with?
No, you jumped out your vehicle. Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
Why are you interfering with our investigation?
Interfering? Yeah. That's a physical thing. I'm walking on a public sidewalk recording you during the course of your duties. What are you talking about?
What do you place your hands behind your back?
Okay.
Hey, folks, did you catch all that? Really? Oh my God! Wow, that's horrible. I mean, he did nothing wrong. That video is 2 minutes and 13 seconds to a civil rights violation. That's it. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Hi, how you doing? What's going on here? Nothing. Well, you're obstructing under arrest. Oh my gosh, it's so stupid. Now let's just take a closer look at the arrest portion. I want you to try to count all the violations that happened here.
It's going to also be occupied 1 time. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's going on out here? Nothing? Excuse me? Step away from your vehicle. Okay, this is our vehicle, actually. The city's vehicle. Okay? Also, when you're dealing with public, I'm recording for my safety as well as yours. This is Officer Hoyt with the Reno PD. How you doing?
Is there something I can help you with?
No, you jumped out your vehicle. Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
Why are you interfering with our investigation?
Interfering? Yeah. That's a physical thing. I'm walking on a public sidewalk recording you during the course of your duties. What are you talking about?
What do you place your hands behind your back?
Okay.
Wow, did you catch how fast that went? I timed it out. It's about 35 seconds. And what did Officer Hoyt arrest him for? Get this, interference. Now, here in Nevada, interference is a physical act. Okay, you have to have threats or force of violence against the officer. So, did he threaten? No. Did he interfere? No. What investigation? The officer said he did nothing. There was nothing that he was investigating. What are you investigating? Nothing. So, what was he interfering? Why did the officer have his lights on? Now, while researching for this video, I was going to go through and look at all the laws and do a deep dive analysis on what we were going to do. And I had about 53 slides to go through with me just talking. And it's all for a 2 minute video. It's not going to take an hour. I don't want it to take an hour. So we're going to kind of point out a few things here about this video that was just absolutely wrong. Colo News 8 did a video recently on this, and you may have seen it on the news. Basically, I was out there video recording him as well. I'm going to be possibly putting that one up on the ADHD auditor as well. It was out in the middle of Reno, Nevada, out on Virginia Street. And out in public, and there was a lot of noise from the road interference and stuff. It was not a really good place to do an interview. And here today, I got a couple of skateboarders in the park and a family, but we're not going to mention those things. But so it was really hard to get that video, and I'm going to take a look at it later and post it up. But so I'm going to go ahead and cut over to the Colo 8 interview here and have them explain things a little bit for you.
A Reno man is attempting to file a lawsuit against a Reno police officer after he was unlawfully arrested. Walter England met up with me today to tell me his story.
It's sad, very sad.
On the evening of August 22nd, Walter England was walking through downtown Reno, where he spent several minutes filming a police investigation.
He put handcuffs on me immediately and put me to the ground.
England is the founder of the YouTube channel Sacramento Crime Watch, where he takes video surveilling law enforcement and other public servants.
Abuse from the officers is always happening, so we're out here recording to make sure that that does not happen.
The video you see here was taken on the night in question. You can see England describing the scene to his followers when he comes across one of the on-scene officers.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's going on out here? Nothing?
Holding his phone between himself and Officer Hoyt, England asked how he was interfering when he was then arrested without cause.
Why are you interfering with our investigation?
Interfering? That's a physical thing. I'm walking on a public sidewalk recording you during the course of your duties. What are you talking about?
What do you place your hands behind your back?
Okay.
The right to film police officers working in public view has been argued in courts across the country as a First Amendment issue for years. Under Nevada law, the public has the right to film as long as the person filming is on public property and not obstructing the investigation.
He said apparently I was interfering with the investigation, but there was also other public members walking on the sidewalk behind me.
During today's interview, England tells me that he had been arrested yet again for filming just yesterday.
I don't feel safe at all.
Charges were never filed and a court date was never set, but the arrest prompted England to file a lawsuit alleging he was falsely arrested. The Reno Police Department has yet to give a response.
So did you catch that? What the law that Colo 8 put out there, NRS 171.1233. I have that one memorized. You know why? Detainment of an officer is NRS 172.123. And that's the limitations. Basically, that's Nevada's wonderful stop and ID law that they think that it's stop and ID. Well, it's not. It basically follows what Terry v. Ohio. It basically follows what Terry v. Ohio states that you need to do in order to get ID. You have to have reasonable articulation of a suspicion under the first paragraph of the law that a crime has had or going to be committed. Part 2 says that you have to be in suspicion of violation of probation or parole. And then the third paragraph says that they got, at that point, that we have to produce ID and our reasons abroad. And then the fourth one says that the officer can only detain you in that current location for an hour before they have to effectuate an arrest or let you go. So keep all that in mind. But yeah, NRS 171.1233 is basically our right to record our government here in Nevada and film police officers without fear of attack. And what did Officer Hoyt do? He attacked Sacramento Community Watch. That's the best way to put it. It's so stupid. And yes, folks, in the news article, there was talk where Sacramento Community Watch did get arrested again for interfering with a police officer. Again, he was not interfering. He was basically recording, and the ticket even says so. Actually, I even got the video of us going to the city hall up on the ADHD auditor right now. So go check that out, where we're going into City Hall and asking for them to drop that second ticket. But basically, after they arrested him or detained him for interference, they basically arrested him and placed him under a ticket where they gave him a notice to appear in court rather than taking him back over into Washoe County Sheriff's Office for to appear in court for obstruction of a public official. Now, you need to take a look at that law if you have the time to Google it here in Nevada, obstructing a public officer. It's unconstitutional. It is so subjective to the police officer. However, every time it's gone up to the Nevada Supreme Court, it's been turned down because somebody actually was obstructing. Now, Sacramento Community Watch was not obstructing the second officer. Go take a look at his video over there as well on his second arrest. But I'm still trying to get the footage from him, and we're going to do our best to get it for you. But the other thing is I got public records requests in all day long for this. We're going to get those records. And one thing is since the video came out from Colo 8, the Reno Police Department has issued a statement. I got the statement here from Reno PD off of Colo 8's website, and they're on colotv.com, and I'll have links in the descriptions to both the original video that I got from Colo 8, as well as the statement and to Sacramento Community Watch's channel. So check the description below and look for that information. So it says here in a statement, RPD says the Reno Police Department is committed to maintaining public trust and ensuring accountability in all our interactions with the community. Okay. On August 22nd of 2023, officers made an arrest that has gained public attention and raised questions about our department's adherence to established policies and procedures. Very much so. I have a lot of questions. It goes on to say, we understand the importance of maintaining the public's trust and confidence in law enforcement and take this responsibility seriously. The night this occurred, we launched an internal investigation into this incident. While we cannot provide specific details about the internal investigation, we want to assure you that the community is taking this matter seriously. Right. Okay, so let me tell you what has happened. So on that arrest, that particular arrest, the first arrest, Officer Hoyt, and at this point, I'm going to stop using the word officer with Mr. Hoyt because Mr. Hoyt is not an officer, in my opinion. He is a tyrant, so he will be considered Tyrant Hoyt. So Tyrant Hoyt took Sacramento Community Watch over to Washoe County Sheriff's Office Jail. Now, here in Reno, Nevada, in the county of Washoe, if you do get arrested, you go straight to Washoe County Jail. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it because that's the only facility in our area that can support that. Reno PD does not have a local jail that they can stick you in. So everything that they do is done over at the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, which is also our county jail. I mean, that's where they keep inmates. And as you can see from my previous interaction with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, we did not have a very good interaction. Now, they kept him there for 6.5 hours. 6.5 hours while they decided to do what they were going to do with Sacramento Community Watch. And basically, he had Chinese food in his hands while he was recording Officer Hoyt. He was about ready to have dinner. He's seen these lights going on, and he was just basically going, "Hey, what's going on here? What are you doing?" Just like any concerned citizen would. But Tyrant Hoyt was on a cell phone with his windows down in plain observance of the Fairview Doctrine, did not create any privacy of his own, told his caller on the phone, "Let me call you back," hops out of his car and go, "Anything I can help you with?" "No, just what's going on here?" "All right, you're obstructing my investigation. You're under arrest." Interfering with my investigation. You're under arrest. Now, again, interference, physical act or threat thereof. Obstructing an officer is purely up to the officer. It is such a tyrannical law. It's a violation of the First Amendment if you read it. There's just no justification. It's purely subjective to the officer, whether or not you're obstructing him. So after 6.5 hours, the supervisor at Reno PD, which we still haven't gotten his name yet, we're still looking into that, wonderful officer, he deserves kudos, basically took a look at Sacramento Community Watch's video about 2 or 3 times and unarrested him. Yeah, basically let him go. So then he had to go basically wrap up all the paperwork. And believe it or not, get this, the paperwork, they gave him a court date. And that's because the clerk of courts that was there at the jail, their little substation, basically just printed out a ticket and goes, "Here you go. This is what we have on the books. We'll see you then." Just like an officer would whenever they print out a ticket. So here's your court date. Gets close to the court date, and guess what? Crickets. Nothing. There was no court date. Basically, because he was unarrested, any charges against him were dropped. So when Reno PD goes, we are they go on to say here, as part of our commitment to transparency, the Reno Police Department will share upon request the body-worn camera footage of this incident after the conclusion of the criminal investigation. So the conclusion of the criminal investigation has been done. The supervisor came by, said that he was not doing anything wrong, unarrested him, let him go. Clerk of courts gave him a court date and dropped it. And basically he reached out to the clerk of courts and basically they said, "Yeah, it shows here that you are unarrested. That's kind of unusual. It's highly unusual. Let me message over to the Reno PD and see what they said." And basically you are unarrested. Long story short. So if there is a criminal investigation, at this point it has to be against Tyrant Hoyt, because Sacramento Community Watch isn't the criminal. So we want those body-worn cameras as soon as possible, Reno PD. This is just unacceptable at this point. I do have a FOIA request in for that body cam, and we're going to try to hold Reno's feet to the fire here. So I mentioned before, or may have mentioned before, I had 50 slides that I had with an in-depth analysis on what protected Sacramento Community Watch, the First Amendment, and NRS 171.1233. I even went through and found, with the help of Google Bard, an interactive AI, and had it analyze the video of his arrest as well before they did an update. And I can't get it to analyze videos at this time; they're still under development. It's a beta. So we came up together with 7 misdemeanors, including interfering with his own investigation, and 2 felony counts. And Sacramento Community Watch and I had decided that under Nevada state law and everything that I had in my qualified immunity buster, and you've probably we'll see it in one of the videos that Sacramento Community Watch has a big blue paper folder in his back pocket. That's my qualified immunity buster on our audits that I'm going to be publishing shortly. Basically, that has every law here in Nevada that could apply to an auditor that you watch all the time online, and they go, "Oh, well, if you don't stop, it'll be interfering, or if you don't give me your ID, it'll be interfering." It's like, no, interference is a physical act. I have the law right here because we all know qualified immunity is given to those police officers who may not have a full understanding of the law. They are not trained legally. They need to be. We need to put the law back in law enforcement. I support good law enforcement. I support people who understand law. And the way that the law works here in Nevada, folks, is there is no restrictions when it comes to civilians placing somebody under arrest. So, I mean, there are, but you should read the law, but there's nothing restricting civilians from placing officers under arrest. As a matter of fact, if they do not take the arrest, they could be in a violation of the law themselves, because there's a law in Nevada that states that anything that governs a law enforcer's action, if there is no penalty to trace back to it, it's an automatic misdemeanor. So not only could I arrest the officer committing the crime, I could also arrest his supervisor for not arresting the officer or giving him a citation for breaking the law in the first place. But we all know what happens whenever you tell a supervisor, hey, this officer broke the law. No, he didn't. He's just doing his job. He's doing this, that, and the other thing. So where do we go? We got to go to the clerk. We got to go to the federal court and sue him civilly. That's what Sacramento Community Watch is getting ready to do. As a matter of fact, we went out on the 20th, and I'm recording this on the 24th right now on a Sunday, to actually go around and try to get some accountability. We tried to get his second arrest dropped because that one was even worse. I mean, he was standing more than 10 feet away recording, and the officer had found a stolen car and basically was recovered it. The lady that you see in the video of the second arrest on his channel in the short is basically the car's owner. And the way that the officer had positioned himself was that he was getting ready to go into the car. Well, there's still one problem with that. And I asked Sacramento Community Watch this, is did he obtain permission from the owner of the car to go into the vehicle to do a search? At this point, he can't go into the car unless he has 2 things. He has to have 1, permission from the owner to go into the car, or 2, a warrant. At this point, all he could do is tow this car back to an impound lot and get a warrant to search the car unless they got permission from the owner to search it. And as a matter of fact, because it's a recovered vehicle, they probably would be able to get the warrant. And he probably has probable cause to go into it. But there's other things that the officer could have done. He could have done a Terry stop pat down. And I talked to Sacramento Community Watch about this, and he said, yes, if it puts the officer's mind at ease, and he's back far enough away and they are freaking out like the second officer did, he would have submitted to a Terry pat down. Me, it just all depends on the situation. In that particular situation, I probably would have. I would have pulled up my shirt and go, hey, I got nothing on me. And in the history of First Amendment auditing, nobody with a camera is going to record their own assault on a police officer. It's just stupid because why? They could get my phone. They could, they could subpoena my phone. They could, warrant for the, with a warrant, they could get the contents of my phone and get the video out of there. It's stupid. And we're not out to assault officers. It's just downright wrong. Okay, folks, the second thing that the officer could have done was wait for backup. How many times have we seen auditing videos where police are standing there doing absolutely nothing because they're a First Amendment auditor is out there and they're recording and they're freaking out over the recording. Oh, we'll wait till my partner gets here. We'll wait till this person gets here. We'll wait till the Sarge gets here. Am I detained? Oh, we'll wait till the Sarge gets here. Just absolutely. But no. In the second video, they go straight for the arrest. And when talking with Sacramento Community Watch, they go, oh, isn't this the same guy that Hoyt arrested the other day? Yeah, it's the same guy. They were going to take him back to Washoe County Sheriff's Office. They were going to give him the same rye bread and stale cheese that basically just chips apart while they processed him for another 6 to 12 hours when they could print out a ticket in 2 minutes. Seriously, folks, 6.5 hours is the first arrest, and they let him go with no charges. The second arrest, they were going to take him back to Washoe County, figure out who he was, and then let him go with a ticket because, oh my God, they were wanting to take him to Washoe County. The supervisor there goes, no, let's write him a ticket. The reason for the detainment was interfering with the police investigation again. Physical force or violence never happened. They detained him under interference, but they gave him a ticket for obstruction because I'm not going to go into a vehicle with you standing right behind me. Well, maybe he shouldn't be in public office. Neither of these tyrants need to be in office. As a matter of fact, Sacramento Community Watch, as part of his effort for justice, is going to seek that these officers get terminated. And if they are allowed to quit, that we will make sure that their licenses are suspended. Make sure that there's a big old note in their file that the reason why they left the police department and why that and request that their licenses be suspended. There's a lot of moving parts to this story, and I want to make sure I bring them all to you. And one of the things that we wound up doing on the 20th was try to make sure that somebody was held, that these officers were held accountable, that his rights were not violated further, and that he doesn't have to go through the trauma of going to court to clear his name on an obstruction of an officer charge. So me and Sacramento Community Watch got together and we did a few audits. And like I said, he is intending to sue the city of Reno, police department, the city of Reno, and Officer Hoyt for the first arrest. The second arrest we're working on, and we got to do this in steps here. So the first step was that what was that normally in this process you would put in a letter of intent to sue, but Sacramento Community Watch jumped the gun a little bit, and he actually filed his notice in federal court first before actually filing notice of intent to sue, because it's a slam dunk case. They arrested him, they threw him in jail, they violated his rights, and they let him go and never charged him with anything. So it's easy enough to prove. The second arrest, we have to clear his name first, and we got to get the charges dropped. We either have to prove his day in court, and I want to save him or the burden of having to go in court. So we went out and talked to the city attorney's office and said, look at the cases, look at the first arrest video that we put notice of intent to sue in for you, and then look at the second case and take a look at the second case real good and drop it. Drop it like it's a radioactive potato. It doesn't need to be in the courts. Save yourself some time and money, because if we have to go out and get lawyers to defend him, we're going to be suing for those and the lawyers that we may have to get for the federal lawsuit. Right now, he's doing this pro se. So if you know any good lawyers, please reach out to Sacramento Community Watch and let them know. So at this point, we talked to the city attorney's office and let them know what's going on with both cases. And then we had wanted to give them, the city clerk is how you do it. The first step is you go to the city clerk with a notice of intent to sue and let them know that if they don't clear this up and get back to you within a certain amount of time, you're going to go to federal court anyways. Which, I mean, those two can run parallel, which is what we're doing in the first case. So we had to go, and he didn't have them printed off at the time, so we had to go to the library. We didn't audit the library because, it's a beautiful library, and we'll go back and do that one later, but we had business to take care of. So we went to the library, got his notice of intent to sue, printed out, and then went back to the city hall. And then we went up and audited the second floor. So that was our second visit. We went up and audited the second floor where they do the public business, and gave the city clerk a notice of intent to sue. And the city clerk there, you'll see it in the videos. She was, the clerk was fairly rude when we were trying to ask her about the second case, at least to me. And had I known some of the things that I knew before walking in there, I would have put her in her place. I really would have. But I'm relatively new to the First Amendment auditing community. I mean, I love how Banana Anna and Accountability for All, Josh and Banana Anna, do their audits, and they put these people in their place, and they're quick to do it. I grew up in a military family, and I'm always quick to, and I have family who works in law enforcement, and worked in the military. So I'm quick to be a little bit more forgiving of public employees because I know how much they go through. But at the same time, I need to get over that. That's something personal on me. So yeah, we filed a notice of intent to sue on the first arrest with Tyrant Hoyt. So then after that, we went to Reno PD, and we sat there and we wanted to talk to the fellow officers, some of Tyrant Hoyt's fellow officers, especially up in the chain of command. And we talked to about 4 different officers. And one of the officers came out and was like, "Okay, guys, we're not going to cause a scene. We're not going to obstruct people's flow in and out of the." And it's like, dude, the directives already is like, okay, no, we're trying to get information out of them. So I'm not quick to jump down their throat and go, look, that's not what we're here to do. It's just not what it is. But we had a wonderful conversation with them. We basically told them that, look, here's the deal. We want to see Officer Hoyt put under charges. So here in Nevada, you can arrest anybody who that you had known has committed a felony. I could arrest him for committing a felony. Sacramento Community Watch could have arrested him for committing a felony. As a matter of fact, the only real restriction is if it's a misdemeanor. And like I said, it was 7 misdemeanors and 2 felonies. So we were there to let them know that Officer Hoyt needed to be arrested. As a matter of fact, the 7 misdemeanors are recording of law enforcement activity, NRS 171.1233. Temporary detention by a police officer. He had no reason of a crime, so therefore NRS 171.1233 came into play, and he's guilty of that, which is an automatic misdemeanor. Malicious prosecution, harassment, battery, assault, acting without lawful authority, false imprisonment, and actually obstructing a public officer. The officer obstructed himself in his investigation. Yeah. Pretty stupid. So 9 misdemeanors. I'm sorry, I said 7. With talking with Google Bard, we eventually got it up to 9. So then the felonies was of NRS 197.200, oppression under color of office, a Class D felony, and NRS 199.130, false affidavit or complaint to an effected arrest or search, a Class D felony. So basically, he lied to arrest, saying that he was interfering or obstructing, took him to jail, oppressed his rights, threw him in jail. So the reason why I didn't put kidnapping on the list is because here in Nevada, in order to be charged with kidnapping, you have to either have intent to take him out of state, or you have to have intent to keep him in the system and keep him hidden. And 6.5 hours, we were looking into the case, we were investigating, we still needed to have him detained. He should have been let go after an hour once they realized they didn't have a case. Really, seriously. But no, they let him go, and one of the supervisors from Reno PD drove him home from Washoe County Sheriff's Office. He lives in downtown. Washoe County Sheriff's Office is a good 10, 15-minute drive away, and part of the rural areas, and buses hardly go out there at night. So it was just horrible. And that's basically the same kind of charges can be applied to the second tyrant who wound up arresting him for, over videotaping that car. It's just so stupid. We had a pretty good discussion with them, and we let them know that Tyrant Hoyt should definitely be investigated for violations of crime, oppression under color of law, definitely, which is a Class D felony. And they were, of course, how police officers are, very dismissive. Oh, you need to take that up with internal affairs, and we can't do nothing about it here. Didn't give us an internal affairs complaint. They didn't want to take the complaint, of course, but they were very understanding, and they basically nothing that they could do. I told the supervisor, look into the case, please. Verify that no crime was committed and drop it and do the right thing. And they said that they would. Whether or not they do or not is a different story. So then after that, the Reno PD, because we basically told them, look, he's under citizen's arrest at this point. So anything that Tyrant Hoyt does, we could send a letter to the judge saying, we want to place him under citizen's arrest. Will you facilitate this? Here's the evidence of his crime. And anything that this officer has done to the person that's currently sitting in court is null and void because he's a criminal, not a police officer. I mean, we could technically try to do that, but it'd be pushing it, and it'd be weird legal grounds, and we don't have a lawyer, and we don't want to get in trouble, so we're probably not going to do that. But we asked them, it's like, well, what if we do want to arrest this officer? How would we go about doing it? We'll talk to internal affairs, or you could go try talking to Washoe County sheriffs. So then we knew we weren't going to get anywhere with Washoe County sheriffs. So we went back to internal affairs, and that's back at the Reno City Hall. So we audited for a third time, but they're up on the 11th floor. And when we came in, the security guard at the front goes, well, do you have an appointment? Or, we don't want it, sir. We don't want any accountability. So he winds up calling up to the 11th floor to talk to internal affairs. They're out here with cameras. Oh my God, they're out here with cameras. They're recording everything. So basically, the guy gave the security officer from Allied Security gave the internal affairs department a heads up that we were recording, and they didn't want to come down and talk to the members of the public and be held accountable. They wanted us to fill out a form. So we took several forms, and Sacramento Community Watch is filling those out, and we will be placing those in there. But it's nice to know from the article from Colo 8 that an investigation is happening into one of their own. So especially the day that it happened. And I don't believe that it happened the day that it happened. I believe that it happened once Colo News 8 article came out, and the very next day we were at their police department asking them, are your officers trained in First Amendment protected activities? Yeah. Then a couple days later, they released a statement. They would have released it sooner had it not turned into a big story, thanks to our partners over at Colo 8, working with Sacramento Community Watch. They're not really partners. They're just very good friends in the news community at this point. So, they even let me, or didn't let me, they had no choice, but they kind of let me sit there and record Sacramento Community Watch as he was getting interviewed too. So the day before we did all these audits, it was a Tuesday and we did all the audits on a Wednesday. So it was pretty awesome. So that pretty much said we're kind of caught up with everything that's going on. I want to try to bring you guys any body cam footage that we can get on it at this point. The FOIA requests that we received so far on these issues is very slim pickings. They were even slow to even report Officer Hoyt's salary, which I'm currently in the process of, or sorry, Tyrant Hoyt's salary, as I'm trying to get right now, to verify how much this tyrant makes with the city of Reno and the Reno PD. Apparently, there's two Officer Hoyts. And when I sent them the request, I said, I want the Officer Hoyt in this video. I gave them the link to the video. And they came back, well, there's two Officer Hoyts. Which one do you need? Because I didn't know that his first name was Tyrant Christian Hoyt. So I said, well, look, watch the video, find out which Tyrant Hoyt it is, and give me his information, or give me both of them. Quit playing around. You could have gave me the information for as long as it's taken you to figure this out already. So they're still working on it. And the only other thing that I've received is basically the CAD report from the night in question when he got arrested the first time. So we're still working on it. Everything else from the second arrest is still not available to us because it's still an active investigation and they're still proceeding with the charges. We're keeping a close eye on that and hope that they just get dropped. So at this point, folks, I'd like you to keep an eye out on everybody's channel, Sacramento Community Watches, Reno News Now, and my brand new channel, ADHD Auditor. I am still trying to get things kind of set up with that thing. I don't really want to highly edit those videos. I kind of want them to be either live or static, however I bring them to you with the ADHD Auditor. I want them as much raw content as possible that I've recorded. Sometimes I have to turn my camera off to save space or to save battery, because towards the end of our day when we were auditing, we wound up going out to Washoe County. We went out to the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, and my battery got down to like about 4%. So I had to be very selective on what I recorded. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Please keep in touch with us, and we'll try to bring you more frequent content updates now that we got a stock load of content to process. So stay tuned, folks, and thanks for watching.